Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Nick Collects coming to you guys with my first ever video, and in this video I am going to be talking about 3 sleeper prospects whose Bowman Chrome autographs you guys should be stacking up on going into the MLB season. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so you guys may be asking yourself, what is on this spreadsheet in front of me? Well, on this spreadsheet in front of me, I have some very important statistical numbers of the MLB current day superstars, I would say, that I actually got from Scotty B Cards. So if Scotty B's watching this, I got this from you. Thank you. Anyways, I added some of my own data to them, but it's basically just a breakdown of where the prospects that I'm going to be covering in this video align with current MLB superstars. So for example, Mike Trout had absolutely ridiculous numbers throughout the minors. People knew that he was going to be special. His BABIP was 402. His WOBA was 421, which these are kind of some complicated statistics. Basically, what BABIP is your batting average on balls put in play. So it can kind of determine the luck that you're having, but also having a WOBA of 421. WOBA is just a more accurate on-base percentage. If you know what on-base percentage is, you'll be able to figure that one out. WRC plus is how many more runs you create, and it's weighted on a scale of 100. So 100 is the baseline, and everything above that is better than average. So 150, a lot better than average. Juan Soto, 198, a lot better than average. And you'll notice a trend that all these guys had very, very good minor league statistics. Over here on the left, I compiled all of their data together to find averages for all of it, like batting average is an obvious one. ISO, which pretty much just measures a player's power, says how good their raw power is. Walks to K percentage. So I meant to say strikeout to walk rate. So for every time they walk, they strike out on average 1.61 times. That's how many times you will walk per strikeout. So the stars all had amazing walk to strikeout rates, 1.61. That's very uncommon for minor league players. So not everyone who I'll be covering will have this insane of a walk to strikeout ratio, just because you don't see it except in the superstars. Then WRC plus again, WOBA, BABIP, stolen base per plate appearance, which is basically what it sounds like. How many steals you get per plate appearance. And then this is the age that on average the stars played at each level. So A plus was on average around 19, double A around 19 again. Then triple A in the majors, they averaged getting there around age 20. You'll see Mike Trout got there at 20. Juan Soto was 19. And Bryce Harper was also 19. Manny Machado was 19. Some of these other guys were as late as 22. So just because you're older doesn't mean that you cannot follow a similar trajectory. But anyways, getting into my very first guy who I have at number 3 of someone whose Bowman Chrome autographs you should be stocking up on is Carson Williams. So I compiled some of Carson Williams' key statistics, and then I gave some of my own opinions about the positives and the negatives. So I have Carson Williams coming in at number 3 on this list, and these are just guys that I personally like and am stocking up on going into the 2023 season. I think Carson Williams is a great candidate to break out this year, possibly shoot up the ranks to double or maybe even triple A. He won't see the majors this year. He's young. He's about to turn 20, but he is a great breakout candidate. So looking at these numbers, he has a lower batting average, but he is a great fielding shortstop who hits for really good power. I put in the positive, someone who he can be compared to is O'Neal Cruz of the Pirates, except for I believe that Carson Williams has better defense. Carson Williams has probably one of the best gloves that we've seen, but just looking at these numbers, which are just offensive numbers, his strikeout rate is very high. His walk to strikeout rate is very low, which is very common among these young guys. Not everyone is going to be like Juan Soto and be able to do what he did in the minors. which is, just get better as every single season went on with plate discipline. But Carson Williams, you've definitely seen it improve over the course of last season, which he spent in mostly A ball. Has a above average WRC plus, a good BABIP, but the main reason that I am so high on Carson Williams are not necessarily his numbers, but his exit velocities. He hits the ball very, very hard. And the hobby loves power and speed guys. They love guys who will hit home runs and are fast and can steal. They're exciting. And they don't love guys with great defense, but great defense tends to translate to higher prices. Juan Soto, doesn't have great defense. He's an outlier just because of how amazing his offense is. Most of the other guys on this list have pretty good defense. I mean, Yordan Alvarez, again, just one of the best hitters of our generation. So, again, the positives, he's a part of the Rays minor league system, which is great at developing prospects, developed Wander Franco, developed Curtis Mead, who I think is going to be an absolute stud and break out this year. But I think the time to buy his cards has unfortunately passed us. I just really like the Rays farm system. I think they do a great job with their prospects. Another positive I have is power plus speed combo. He has an amazing glove. I'm not sure if he won the platinum glove. I'll actually need to check up on that, but I know he won the gold glove at shortstop in all of minor league baseball, the gold glove at the shortstop position. He was a pitcher in high school, could throw 95, so he has a great arm. Hobby Love archetyped, I already touched on that. O'Neal Cruz comparisons and his amazing exit velocities. His only negatives are his age is a little high, which you'll see that's a very common theme on the negatives list. Again, the superstars are outliers. Not everyone. There are very, very few people in today's minor league system, especially who are undervalued, who compare to the superstars at all. So just that there is the ability to draw some comparison is a really great sign. And Carson Williams with an ISO above the superstars average is also a really, really good sign. But his biggest problem is his strikeout percentage, which we also kind of talked about. I think his plate discipline will come as he starts to mature and develop. Generally, the last thing to come is power, but with Carson Williams, it's definitely his plate discipline and ability to draw walks. But if he can get that figured out, I expect him to have a great year come 2023. Okay, so one other thing that I forgot to touch on about Carson Williams is the price of his, out of $499 a refractor. All of these are based on the out of $499 refractor. His price to get a raw out of $499 refractor is only $70, which I think is an amazing buy right now. I think he is at a great buying window. Again, you can't really compare the players to superstars, but if you do, I mean, that price is not even close to what any of the superstars' prices are. Again, it's a very hard comparison to draw because these guys are superstars. But I think Carson Williams has a very, very high ceiling, and I think that price is going to shoot up over the course of this minor league season. Okay, so coming in at number 2 on our list, we have the Cubs newly acquired Pete Crow Armstrong. So Pete Crow Armstrong is similar to Carson Williams in the fact that he has really, really good power, which he does not get enough credit for. He is mainly credited for his glove and speed out in the outfield, and then his ability to get hits and get on base. But his power is very, very slept on with an ISO of over 2. Again, that's above the MLB Stars averages. He strikes out a decent amount. It's not great, but it is something that we have seen improve as Pete Crow Armstrong has played longer in the minors. So I have no reason to believe that will not continue. His walk to strikeout ratio is not that great, but it's never really great with these minor league prospects. He does need to work on drawing more walks, but I do believe that's something that will come with time. His OPS and WRC plus are phenomenal, basically matching up with the MLB superstars, even a little bit better. He has a great BABIP, so that shows that it's not just luck. It's not the only reason that he is getting on base. He steals a lot of bases, and he's just really, really good. Now, he's a little bit old, but as I'm recording this video, he has played some very, very good spring training games with the Cubs. I don't think he will make the opening day roster. I'm not even sure if he will get the call up this year just because of the Cubs' current outfield. But I think if he doesn't get the call up this year, he will be breaking camp with the team come 2024, which is still putting him on a very good age trajectory. And I do think that there's a very solid chance that he reaches the MLB this year, his age 21 season. I think that's very fair. I think it just sort of depends what happens with the Cubs outfield. Now, some of the positives that he is the best defensive outfielder in minor league baseball. There's very little debate about that. He has good slept-on raw power. He has very real 20-20 potential, which is 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. Again, he's very fast. He has a great fly ball percentage, which means that he hits the ball off the ground a lot, which is very, very good, especially when talking about these prospects. That's something that it's hard to teach, especially in a swing. So the fact that he already has that great fly ball percentage, something that not a lot of people in the minors, not a lot of prospects in the minors have, and it's something that's going to benefit him a lot in the power category. He's also drawing comparisons to Michael Harris, which I think is very fair. Another elite defensive outfielder and offensive outfielder. So I think that's a very fair comparison. And I think Pete Crow Armstrong, with his autographs being just $175 for an out of $499, I say just, that is a lot, but whenever you look at these numbers, Pete Crow Armstrong is on the same trajectory that people like Mookie Betts and people like Ronald Acuna Jr. are on, with very, very similar numbers. And if you look at Ronald Acuna Jr.'s out of $499 refractor Bowman Chrome auto price right now, I mean, it's 20 times, 30 times what Pete Crow Armstrong's is. So again, I give him a lot of room to grow this season. I think he's just going to continue to improve, and I think he will be on the Chicago Cubs starting outfield roster here pretty soon. Okay, so now going into our final player on this list. He is one that I am personally very high on and I have some stake in. And in my opinion, one of the most undervalued and, more importantly, underappreciated prospects in all of minor league baseball. And he is from the Colorado Rockies system, and that is Adel Amador. His autograph prices are pretty cheap at $100 an autograph. It's slightly more than Carson Williams, but I think Amador has much, much more upside. Now, looking at the numbers, nothing crazy jumps off at you with a first glance, but I will break down why I think this kid is going to be so good. Number one, he has the best archetype that you can possibly have, just like Carson Williams, except for he also hits for average, which I really like. Without a doubt, the most important thing that he has going for him is his plate discipline. I mean, it is comparable to people like Juan Soto in the minors. I mean, he only strikes out 12% of the time. That is unbelievable. He has a walk to strikeout rate of 1.3, which is, again, unheard of. For a 19-year-old to walk more than he strikes out is, again, Juan Soto-esque. I think going into his 20-year-old season, I personally think he's going to take the minor leagues by storm. I think he's going to make a push to double, maybe even triple A this season, and really force the Rockies' hands on what to do with their middle infield, because not only is he a great hitter, he is also very above average at shortstop. I think he could possibly end up moving to second base in the Colorado Rockies system if he's not traded, only because Ezequiel Tovar just has such a good glove. So I see him sticking at shortstop for the current future. But I think Adel Amador is just such a good buy at his current $100 price tag. And on top of that, his cards have very low population, and they are very hard to gem. So a PSA 10 Adel Amador is a card that PSA may only have pop 20 or pop 30. And his cards, they were manufactured with very, very bad surface. So if you can come across a PSA 10, I do think that's a very worthwhile investment for you guys to make. So for some of his negatives, He is a little older compared to the stars at this point in time, but again, I think he's going to take off this year and make up some of that lost time. Again, personal opinion, maybe it's a little bit of bias as I am invested in him, but I mean, I see that happening. He does have a lower batting average on balls put in play, but I think that should be natural with how much he walks. He's just on base so much. So, I mean, that makes sense. His hit tool is great. His speed is great. In my opinion, easily a 2020 guy, especially as power is continuing to come with this kid as he progresses through the minors. And I don't see any sign of that stopping. I think he will, without a doubt, next year reach the 25 home run threshold. And again, just sort of take the league by storm. The biggest negative with him, in my opinion, is that he plays for the Rockies, and the Rockies are known for prospects going to die. That's why I am very hopeful that he will be a trade piece for the Rockies. I really hope they get him out. This kid in a market like New York or LA his prices will fetch unthinkable numbers. They will double, triple, probably instantly, because he's just that good. He has a Xander Bogaerts comparison, which, in my opinion, is very, very fair. Xander Bogaerts is an absolute stud. He's another guy who hits for power, has good speed, average. I mean, Adele Amador, in my opinion, is a true 5-tool player. Like, he checks off every single box. And I would say the same thing with Pete Crow Armstrong. I would say Carson Williams is 4 out of 5. Checks out 4 out of 5 boxes. I think he's going to work on the hitting for average, but as of right now, he does not have that, but I still think he's undervalued. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. If you guys like, please leave a like. This is my first time making a video like this, and I just want to get feedback. I want to know what you guys want to see. Again, I collect a lot of cards. Here's an Adele Amador, True Blue, Beckett Minjim. Here's a James Wood out of 499. And I really like James Wood too, but obviously he is not underrated. If you guys have any other video ideas, just drop a comment down below, please. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, Nick Collects. This is my first minor league video, and I really hope you guys liked it. And I'm out. Peace.